Hello again, everybody. Welcome back. It's time for maths today. Now, I hope yesterday you enjoyed doing your code task on measures, and we were starting to think about length. And we're going to be carrying that thinking on today. We're going to be thinking about how we can measure with length. So just to, I think I might have accidentally given the, yes, can, sorry, right. Here is a starting point for you to start thinking about then. So this is your starter for today. Here are some questions based on length, a little bit about some of the conversations we had yesterday. And in particular, that third one, that's going to draw on some knowledge that hopefully you have from year 2, which is going to be really, really important for today. So we'll talk about that in a second. So pause the video here, have a conversation at home. Which of these are you confident in? Which are you not so sure about? Give it a go. Okay, so question 1 then, which of the measurements describe length? So hopefully you've remembered these from yesterday. We looked at meters yesterday and centimeters yesterday. Now, these other two measures are certainly units of measurement. 2 liters describes drinks or capacity, liquid, and 2 kilograms describes the weight of something. So that might be, for example, as part of a recipe. Question 2 says match each length to a sensible estimate. So we've got the height of a giraffe, the size of a ladybird, and the size of your thumb. One of these things is going to be 5 meters. One of these things is roughly 5 centimeters, and one of these things is roughly 5 millimeters. So our giraffe, that's 5 meters, that's the biggest. Our ladybird, that's roughly 5 millimeters. And our thumb, that's roughly 5 centimeters. Now, all of these are inexact. That's just an estimate, and we'll be talking a little bit more about estimates, I think so. And finally, complete the statements then. So this is quite tricky. I think this is one of these things that really just kind of got to know. 1 meter is the same as 100 centimeters. And I think a really good way to remember that is that I'm not sure this is on here, sorry. 100, can I change this? Here we go, it's going to be better. Right, sorry. Centimeters, right, okay, that word centimeters has the start point cent, and cent is another word for 100. So there are 100 centimeters in 1 meter. And 1 centimeter is equal to how many millimeters? This one's a bit more fiddly. Milli means 1,000, so there's 1,000 millimeters in 1 meter. So in this case, doesn't fit exactly because it's 10 millimeters is 1 centimeter. So your 1 centimeter there can be broken down into 10 small millimeters. Particularly if you look at a ruler, the little tiny lines that you'll see between your centimeters, there'll be 10 of them. Okay, moving on then. So Tommy is trying to measure the brick. He is struggling and he needs a bit of help. What are our top tips for Tommy? Can you think back to our work yesterday then? Hopefully you had a go at this as well. What can you remember? So number 1, we're going to make sure you're using the centimeter side of the ruler. So we know that often our rulers will have 2 sides. It might have centimeters and maybe something else as well, in this case inches. So we will make sure we're using the right side. Is he ready to measure yet? No, because he needs to line up the edge of the item with 0 on the ruler. So let's do that now. There we go. And now it's much easier to measure, isn't it? We're measuring to this line on the edge of the box, and that is 5 centimeters. We can see that there. The brick is 5 centimeters long. Tommy wants to measure the height of the brick too. So let's go through those tips again. We need to firstly make sure we've got the right side, that we want the centimeter side. We're going to need to match the edge up with 0. And then we can read along to the top of that brick and we can see that that's at 2. So in this case, 2 centimeters tall. It's a very small brick, isn't it? Okay. Dora is drawing a line 7 centimeters long. So this is thinking about it the other way now, that we've got the ruler and we need to draw the line. How's she going to do that? And has she done it correctly? What do you think? It's gone from 1 to 7. Well, the problem here is she didn't start at 0, did she? And so going from 1 to 7 If you think about that as a subtraction, 7 take away 1 is actually only 6. So she's only gone 6 centimeters along there. So let's try again. Now she starts from 0 and goes up to 7. She's going to have her 7 centimeter line. Much better. Okay. I always like it when the character Rosie comes up, so I always think it looks a lot like the Rosie in our class. Rosie is measuring the packet of crayons. So she started at 0. What does that go up to there? Let's have a look at that again. So a bit tricky now because we're measuring in millimeters. This ruler has millimeters, and we can see it's going from 0 up to what? It goes up there to 90 millimeters. Now, really tricky question for you. How many centimeters is that? Rosie says the pack of crayons is 90 centimeters long. Do you agree? Well, hopefully not, because the ruler, this side of the ruler, is talking about millimeters. So we know that that one's not quite right. So let's have a think then. How many millimeters are there in 1 centimeter? You might remember there's 10. And we can see that a bit more clearly here. Let's just go through that once more. If I match these rulers up together, you can see that 10 millimeters is the same as 1 centimeter. And so your 90 millimeters are equal to how many centimeters? It's 9. So 90 millimeters, that's the same as 9 centimeters. Rosie is measuring again, and this time she's measuring one of her crayons. Starts at 0. Now, what measurement do you think that is? It's more than 40, but it hasn't yet got to 50. It looks about halfway between 40 and 50, doesn't it? So what are we going to call that then? What number is halfway between 40 and 50? It's 45, isn't it? So in this case, we've got a pencil that's 45 millimeters long. Now, I wonder what we could say if we wanted to say that as centimeters. So we know that there's 10 millimeters for each centimeter. So 40 millimeters would be 4 centimeters. So how many centimeters is this then? We know it's 45 millimeters. It would be 4.5 centimeters, or to put it another way, 4.5 centimeters. Now, we haven't thought about decimals yet. That's okay. I'm not expecting anyone to know about 4.5, but maybe you were thinking that. Maybe you said that at home as well. It would certainly be 4.5 centimeters, and that would be the same as 45 millimeters. So what do we think of this one then? Here is a toy car. I think we said this was Dexter's toy car yesterday, didn't we? Here is Dexter's toy car. True or false? The toy car is 125 millimeters long. Do you agree? So we had a very similar question yesterday, didn't we? I would say the reason that this isn't right, the reason this is false, is that we're not measuring from 0. So although it goes up to 125 millimeters, it didn't start at 0. How long is the car? That's a tricky question. Have a think about that. That's a tough one, isn't it? We can see it starts at 30. It goes up to 125. How many millimeters long is it? Well, we could do a subtraction question. We could do 125 take away 30. And that would leave us with a car that was 95 millimeters long. Or, to put that in centimeters, what's 95 millimeters in centimeters? Well, 90 millimeters would be 9 centimeters, and then the 5 millimeters is half a centimeter, so it would be 9.5 centimeters long. Okay, we have a green bar here and an orange bar. I'd like to pause the video here and just come up with some different things that you notice. What could we say about what we've got here? Maybe you can tell me the length of these bars. Maybe you can tell me the distance between them. Maybe you can say which one's longer. Have a really good think. What can you tell me? What do you notice? Okay, let's look through some possible answers for things you could have said. So we could definitely say the green bar is 5 centimeters long. We could have said that the orange bar is roughly 6 centimeters long. The orange bar is therefore 1 centimeter longer. We could have said there's a gap of 3 centimeters between the bars. We might have said the total length was 11. All of those would have been good statements you could have made. Here is Annie. And Annie has a nice big 3 meter tall meter stick, which is useful, isn't it? 3 meters, wow. Okay. So how tall is Annie? Is she taller than 1 meter? Yes, she is. Is she as tall as 2 meters? No, she's not. So we know it's going to be between 1 and 2. So it's going to be 1 meter and something. We've got to think about what the something is. So we know that 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeters. We've talked about that already. How are we going to work out, though, what this extra amount is? Because it doesn't have any other lines on the scale, sorry, any other numbers on the scale. Let's count how many lines there are between 1 and 2. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this is split up into 10 sections. So that 1 meter is split up into 10 sections. So what's each section going to be worth? 100 centimeters split into 10. We can say that each section or each new line is going to be worth an additional 10 centimeters. So counting up to Annie's line here, we've got 1 meter and 10, 1 meter and 20, 1 meter and 30. And that's how we know that Annie is 1 meter and 30 centimeters tall. What would that be if I wanted to give that measurement entirely in centimeters? How many centimeters tall is Annie altogether? Well, the 1 meter is equal to 100, plus the 30 here, she's 130 centimeters tall. Okay, thanks everyone. It's time for you to have a go at your own questions now. So I'm going to leave these on the video for you to pause when you need to, fill in your answers, and then I'll have the answers for you at the end. Okay, thanks everyone, have fun. So here's question 1. Okay, super. On that question, hopefully you thought very sensibly and realised I'm going to do something around the home rather than the classroom. Okay, here are your answers then, so you can have a good look at these and mark your own work. Well done to everybody. Hope you found that useful. Hope you've been measuring at home as well. Hopefully you've been, hopefully you've got a ruler or a measuring tape of your own. You've been frantically going around your house measuring things left, right, and centre. That'd be a really good way to practice what we're learning in maths at the moment. Okay, thanks everyone. I will see you back for your final video of the day shortly.